Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Advanced Bass Fishing, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to spend some time with me on the video today. And guys, one of the things I like to do here on Advanced Bass Fishing is I like to give you practical tips about things you can do to get immediate success and immediate results, improvement in the improvement in your fishing success and quality and consistency of catching bass. And in today's video, guys, I want to relate to you how the process that I went through, because I went through a process or a period of time where I struggled to consistently catch bass for about a decade. And once I made actually one primary change in the way that I approached my fishing, my consistency really took off to a different level. So that's what I want to go into in today's video and share that story with you guys. And I think you can apply it to your own fishing as well. Also, guys, quick reminder that you guys may not have heard me talking about, but the Solar Bat sale on my glasses here for Father's Day is over. Solar Bat has got a new sale going on during the month starting right now up and through the month of July. 30% off on my Signature Series glasses, and any purchase over $98, you get a free hard case from Solar Bat. Also, if you use my promo code RandyB, you get free handling and shipping. So I'll put the Solar Bat link in the description. You can also order it through my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video too. They got the glasses there, so really appreciate that, and appreciate all the support with all the links and everything, guys. It means a lot to me and my family. Okay, guys, I'm gonna tell you, let me clue you in on, there's a lot of different things you can do to improve your fishing success, but the biggest thing you can do to, sorry about the noise here, guys, I'm at the car wash here. Somebody just turned the blower on there. But probably the biggest thing that you can do to immediately start getting more consistency in your fishing success is how you spend your time on the water looking for your bass. Because the problem that I went through, let me roll this wind up here for a second, guys, so that blower comes off. I know, guys, a lot of these videos I do, man, they're all over the place, but I got a limited amount of time to do videos, and I can't do them like in the perfect place all the time, so I got to do them wherever I got a free minute here and there. But anyway, guys, the one thing that you can do, or the one thing that I did that improved my success more than anything else, is how I manage my time looking for bass or practicing for bass. And so many people out there, they spend so much time in unproductive water. And I don't care what lures you have, or if you can have the best, most high-tech lures, the most high-tech equipment in the world, but if you are not around the fish, you're simply not going to catch any fish. And if you're not around a lot of fish, you're not going to catch a lot of fish. You can be in an area that is loaded with fish, and you may not have the right bait. You may have like a bait that's not the best thing to use, but if you're around a lot of fish, you're going to catch fish even if you're not using the right lure. So that's one thing. So here's some tips and advice on how to put yourself in the best water right off the bat, when you go fishing. When you go fishing. First of all, you have to do a little bit of research on the lake you're going to before you get there. Try to get a feel for what's going on. Find out the water level, find out the lake level. Google the lake that you're fishing, and maybe check some fishing reports, because this is going to give you guys a good idea about the primary techniques that are being used, sort of the stage of the fish, what they're going to be in, and it gives you sort of like a little bit of information to begin a starting point. The next thing that you have to do is you can't cover the whole lake unless you're fishing like a pond or something like that. If you're fishing a lake that's over like a couple thousand acres, you can't do everything, you can't fish everywhere, so you have to compartmentalize that lake in order to find the fish quicker, especially on a bigger public body of water. If you're on a lake that's like over 10 or 15 or 20,000 acres, this is very important. So what you have to do is you have to put yourself in the best part of that lake based upon the time of the year that you're there. Say, for example, if you're fishing during the wintertime, wintertime fishing is always better in cleaner water and usually deeper water, so therefore in the wintertime the lower end of the lake's going to probably be better. In the summertime of the year, I like to fish stained water, so I'm going to be looking for the dirtiest water in the lake. If it's the springtime of the year and the fish are getting ready to spawn, I'm going to be looking for the type of areas that have a lot of spawning habitat, a lot of spawning coves. So every single season has a part of the lake that is traditionally a little bit better. But here's how to quickly find fish and get on the fish right off the bat. You know, the best advice that I can give you, number one, look at your lake, guys, and pick out one or two of the largest creek arms there, the biggest creek arms that are on the lake. These big creek arms have resident populations of bass that live in there 12 months out of the year. They're smaller and they're easier to, you know, manage in a short amount of time, because let's say, for example, you're on a 30,000 acre lake and you pick out one creek arm in that lake, and that creek arm may be, say, 1,000 acres in that one creek arm. So you've reduced the size of the lake that you're fishing from 30,000 acres down to 1,000 acres. That's going to be make it a lot easier for you to locate those bass. So if you commit to fishing that one creek arm all day long, your odds of getting on the fish quicker and figuring out the fish quicker are going to be a lot higher than if you try to tackle that whole lake. You know, if you're trying to tackle the whole lake, you may fish down by the lower end of the lake for an hour and they're not biting, and you run up to the mid part of the lake, and then you run up the lake, and you're all over the place. But if you're in that 1,000 acre creek arm, you're forced to fish in that 1,000 acre creek arm. The next thing that I do is right off the bat in the morning, say you get into that creek arm, you decided to stay in there all day long, take a lap around the creek with your boat. Just run the entire creek from the mouth of the creek all the way to the back. I don't care if you even know the lake pretty good. Run that entire creek all the way through it, backside, and take note of the predominant cover, the visible shoreline cover. You know, do you have docks? Do you have some grass? Do you got some lily pads? Do you got lay down trees? Do you got points, rock transitions, or whatever? And that gives you a starting point to where to go to. So the next thing that I do after that is I'll take note of all the cover available, and I'll take note of, say, any water clarity changes, because a big creek arm is sort of a microcosm of an entire lake, and you may have a lot of different water clarity changes in one creek arm based upon the part of the creek that you're in. So take note of all that. Okay, so the next thing you do is you formalize your game plan. Let's say, for example, the creek arm you're in, it's got 20 secondary points in there. Start off the bat running those secondary points. Based upon the time of the year, you know, adjust your techniques accordingly. Try those points for a little bit. If the points are working and you're catching some fish on it, stay on that pattern. You might be able to duplicate it in some other creek arms on the lake. You might be able to tweak your technique a little bit, and that can be a real good deal. If they're not biting on, say you fish 10 secondary points without a bite, then you go to the next option. Okay, what's the next obvious piece of cover? Are there a bunch of boat docks in the lake? Try those boat docks for a little bit, or try the lay down trees that you see, or try a little short sections of bluff or gravel banks. But just experiment on whatever available cover that you have until you start figuring something out as far as, you know, what type of structure the fish are using. Now, also within that is you don't have to be regulated just to fish, or relegated just to fish the obvious cover. The next thing you can do is get out off the bank a little bit and put your 2D sonar on and graph around a little bit. You know, get out on those points, see if you can find any drop-offs, see if you can find any rock piles, see if you can find any brush piles. You know, look for standing timber in the middle of the creek. Just get out there and see if you see much activity. See if you're seeing much shad on your electronics. You know, just get a feel for what's going on off the bank. And again, that depends upon your water visibility, because your water visibility is going to dictate technique quite a bit. But the point of this is that you are in good water all day long. You know, if you're out there on the main lake, or you're running, you know, bays and coves off the main lake, those type of areas tend to be more low percentage areas, because bass move in and out of those areas a lot more. They don't stay in those areas like they do on a big creek arm. If you're running down the lake and you start fishing some coves that are off the main lake, or you see a big flat bay back in there, most of the time those are seasonally good, and bass won't live in there 12 months out of the year. And also, they don't go into those areas in larger populations. But in those major creek arms, you have larger populations of bass that live in there. And not only have individual bass, but you got wolf packs of bass, you got bigger schools of bass. That's just the best way, guys, to get on those fish quick and stay on those fish, is just concentrate on the major creek arms. And once you do that, And then once you get some confidence in your abilities of what to look for, then you can expand out to that more inobvious stuff. And you can supplement your major creek arm pattern with some other stuff that is not as obvious out on the lake that a lot of people may have overlooked. So anyway, guys, that's just a quick tip. That's one of the things that I have that really helped me out, is simply don't try to cover the whole lake. Try to make the lake into a manageable size on the day you're out there, and it makes a big difference in your consistency on locating those bass quick. So hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk to you later.